Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about the art of the possible. We're going to talk about aid and pauses and performative actions. And we're going to go through a question and hopefully shed some light because I feel like this is probably not the only person wondering what's going on. Okay, so here's the message. I was so mad at you for the way you covered this in the beginning. I actually stopped watching. Then I saw things you said that I thought was corporate dim cope actually happen. I have a question. I saw where the U.S. tried to get Israel to commit to a ceasefire, eye roll emoji, and then in quotes, humanitarian pause. They said no. Even though they said no, the U.S. is running around the Middle East trying to get aid. Is that just face saving, all caps? Or is there more to it? Why try to get aid if the Israelis won't stop long enough to get it in? Seems like performative BS. Okay, so that actually does a really good job of the in case you missed it part. So the U.S. tried to get a humanitarian pause. Israel was like, yeah, that's not happening. Immediately, the U.S. is going to different countries, talking to different countries, to include, I believe, Turkey and Jordan, trying to get them to deliver aid, even though it won't get in. And the question, is that performative? No. Let's put it into different terms. Let's say you have a car. You have a car, and your friend has always liked this car and always said, I want to buy that car. And they never have the money. Okay. Now you finally decide you're going to sell the car. And your friend calls you up and says, hey, bring it over to me. I would like to buy it. How likely are you to do that? Because they don't have the money. Or what if your friend sends you a text message that shows you a stack of $100 bills and it says, bring the car over? Which one is going to be more likely to get a response from you? It is easy to say no, we're not going to do a humanitarian pause when there's no humanitarian aid. Not yet. But if it is sitting right outside, the amount of pressure that can be brought by asking for it at that point is far greater. I know people have their opinions about some of the top names when it comes to American diplomatic efforts right now. Just remember that the core staff, the people whose names you never hear about, we talked about them before Biden ever took office because he had them picked way back then. They specialize in the art of the possible. Realistically, all of the aid, anything that's committed, anything that shows up, it's going to southern Gaza. It's not going to the north. If you want a real no corporate dim cope assessment, my guess would be that northern Gaza has kind of been written off because it's already broken off militarily. There's a line there, and it's already broken off from the southern portion. My guess is that right now, U.S. efforts are going to be primarily focused on getting aid into southern Gaza. That's what they're going to be dealing with. Once that's more under control, they will probably move on. Move on to trying to get something done about northern Gaza. But understand that's probably not going to be a quick process. Going around and trying to get countries to say, yeah, we'll put the aid on planes or ships and get it there, that's making it more tangible. That's more than just a random dollar amount. Well, we'll provide this much aid. it makes it real. When it's real, there's more pressure to say yes. You have to let it in. That's what it is. Again, there are different approaches when it comes to diplomacy for stuff like this. The current course that the U.S. seems to be on is certainty is more important than morality. That seems to be where they're at. They're trying to take care of what they know they can and help where they know they can, rather than risk burning all of their political capital on something that might not work. You want to criticize that? You want to argue about that? Yeah, that's something to... There's an argument to be made there. Because there's an argument that says what's happening is bad enough, you have to take the risk. But it's what's happening is not performative. They're trying to accomplish certain things. Now, the argument that more needs to be done, and it needs to be more firm, it's an argument to be made. I mean, that is something that there's no good counter argument against it. And I don't know that you could say you couldn't do both at the same time. There's a lot of criticisms that can be made. The one that I don't think realistically can be is that what's happening is performative. It will have a tangible impact. Whether or not it's enough for you, or whether or not you think that they could do better, whether or not you think they're going far enough. All of that's free game. You can argue about that all day. But what's happening, there is a method to it. And it's focusing it's kind of like triage. You know this can be helped, you're not certain about this stuff. So that's what's going on. My guess is that push will be successful, but it doesn't actually stop the heavy fighting. It helps people, but not those that are most impacted. I guess for a lot of people watching this, you'll say that they're working from the wrong end. And again, that's a criticism you could make, that there's not... That's more about overall strategy than what they're actually doing. So that's what's going on. There are a lot of people who want immediacy, and they want a solution to this quickly. There's not going to be one. It is incredibly unlikely. It's important to understand that the fighting that you've seen, that's just shaping. That's not the real fighting yet, as far as up north. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.